All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of good crypto news stuff for you today. And the first thing, main thing we want to focus on is that hackers have withdrawn 7,000 Bitcoin in a Binance crypto exchange security breach. So Binance got hacked. Funds are not Safu, but it seems like nobody's actual Bitcoin was affected. But this could affect the market to some degree, and it actually already has, and I'll show you that in just a little moment here. So Binance, the one of the largest cryptocurrencies by exchange, has by daily trade volume, has experienced a major security breach today, May 7th. Per Binance, hackers employed a variety of tactics, including phishing and viruses, to obtain a large number of 2FA codes and API keys in addition to other information. According to the exchange, there was one affected transaction where hackers were able to withdraw 7,000 Bitcoin, worth $40 million at press time. In a letter on Binance's website, CZ states that the Bitcoins were withdrawn from its hot wallets, which only contain 2% of the exchange's total Bitcoin holdings. Z states that Binance's other wallets are unaffected, so only Bitcoin was taken in the hack. Binance will suspend all deposits and withdrawals while it conducts a security review on its systems, which Zhao estimates will take up to 1 week. So no withdrawals and deposits for 1 week. Not good. Trading will still be active, and traders will still be able to adjust their positions, though. So you can still trade, but nothing's going on or off of the exchange for an entire week. So Zhao adds that he will conduct a Twitter AMA in a couple of hours to field questions from the community. So Binance will use its Secure Asset Fund for users, Safu, to cover the incident. The exchange created the fund in July 2018 as a type of emergency issuance. Binance allocates 10% of its total trading fees to finance the Safu fund. But an interesting note that some people have been tossing around on Reddit and Twitter, etc., is that this isn't the first time. So the Syscoin team says that once they're, and again, this was from July 2018. The Syscoin's team says that once their investigation concluded the unusual activity did not originate from a glitch in its blockchain, it went on to ask exchanges to resume the trading of SYS. This is where things get interesting. While the Syscoin team chalks up the anomaly with the unusually large blocks to recent software update, the company said it has no knowledge what could have caused the odd trading activity on Binance. Binance reset its API keys following the incident. Syscoin points out that Binance users reported 7,000 Bitcoin removed out of the exchange at the same time as the unusual trading of its coin. It also states that some users in its community reported that their Bitcoin balances on Binance were negatively affected during that time. However, the company said that it can't verify if the two activities were related. It is worth noting that while Binance has acknowledged its role in the Syscoin debacle and launched a user security fund in response, it hasn't given any details on how unusual trading of Syscoin actually happened. We've contacted Binance, but no representatives were available for comment at the time of writing. So that happened a while ago, that 7,000 Bitcoin were missing, and nobody really made a big deal of it. It wasn't really considered a hack, but 7,000 Bitcoin removed out of the exchange all at once, and now we have another 7,000 Bitcoin removed from the exchange. So coincidence? I don't know, but this is going around, and it is kind of interesting to think about. Now, on the CZ Binance Twitter, he did do that AMA, so you can actually watch this video if you go to twitter.com/CZBinance, and he does talk about how it happened, but there was a lot of external and internal methods of how they got all this Bitcoin. So essentially they tried to fish for accounts, and they didn't just wait for one account, they waited for many, many accounts and accumulated all that Bitcoin all at once and then moved it all out in one transaction, which is really weird. But one thing I want to kind of point out that all exchanges typically do is down here, this tweet 9 hours ago, have to perform some unscheduled server maintenance that will impact deposits and withdrawals for a couple hours. No need to FUD. Funds are Safu. Several hours later, we were hacked, basically. Not the best of days. We'll stay transparent, though. Thanks for the support. We appreciate it. We've been hacked, basically. So this is something that we've seen so many times in the past. I remember Nice Hash when it was hacked, and they had lost some like 4,300 Bitcoin or 4,200 Bitcoin. It equated to about like $60 million at the time. And they were like, oh yeah, we're in unscheduled maintenance, and this is nothing new. Unscheduled maintenance. If you see unscheduled maintenance now, there's always like people on Twitter that are like, oh my God, is there a hack? Like, are our funds safe? Like every time you see this unscheduled maintenance, and they're always like, oh no, everything's fine, everything's fine. And then several hours later, they're like, yeah, we got hacked for a lot. So the hack is, equivalent to some $40+ million on Binance. Now, nobody's funds are going to be affected because they're going to use the Safu fund, apparently. But this is a pretty big deal. It actually had an effect on Bitcoin. So we're going to skip to CoinMarketCap for a second here and watch that happen. So it happened, sometime the announcement was around here, and you can see this loss of $200 some, and now we're starting to slowly climb back. This is when the announcement approximately happened, and you can see what happened to Bitcoin in just this announcement. I happened to be trading and live streaming on Coinbase Pro at the time, and we started to wonder in the chat, like, what would 7,000 Bitcoin being sold all at once do to the market? And at first I thought, well, probably not that much. Now, 40 million is quite a lot, but if you look on Coinbase, you could actually scroll through the depth chart and see how much it would cost you to sell all of that Bitcoin, and it would bring it down quite a bit, something like to 5,300. Now, that's just on one exchange. So again, if you took 1,000 Bitcoin onto 7 exchanges, 7,000 Bitcoin just divided by 7 for 1,000 each, it would bring Bitcoin down to like 5,400 or so. I sort of estimated that if they sold it all on those exchanges, and then the average went down from that about $5,400. So we went nearly there, 200, another 200 or 300, we would have been at that level. But this is just scared investors selling real fast, and then everybody buying back in once the price went down. So moving on to even more Binance news. Binance survey reveals 65% would donate to an anti-Craig Wright legal fund. So it's just kind of funny, but good stuff. So in a survey, CZ, CEO of Binance, asked followers whether they would plan to use the blockchain to create a fund for legal fees and associated costs. Wright, who alleges he is the entity behind Satoshi Nakamoto's pseudonym, has recently begun suing those who disagree with him on social media. And as Bitcoin has reported, it was Lightning Torch creator HODLNOT who became the first victim of the campaign, with the community already pledging to assist him while coming out against Craig Wright and his sympathizers. So he took a direct opposing stance, creating another survey and subsequently using the result to delist Bitcoin SV. And now the new survey is Craig CSW is picking on the people who have a hard time fronting their legal fees. How about we do a Binance BCF charity program to raise money from the community for legal fees for anyone Craig S. Wright sues? And 66% of people who voted on it, and it was only 909 votes, but 66% of those people said, we would actually vote for that. But 34% said let Craig Wright bully people. But fair enough. So Wright subsequently sent lawyers summons to other well-known Bitcoin community figures, while reports also suggest that Bitcoin Cash promoter Roger Ver had also received a letter. Oh, no, not Roger Ver. While Ver is not known to be short of money, however, Zal said is concerned that Wright was targeting those without the ability to foot the costs involved with a court battle. So Craig Wright has a court battle of his own going on here pretty soon, which is going to be very, very interesting. But really nice of Binance to possibly have people donate to defend themselves in court against Craig Wright. But I still think those threats from Craig Wright are just unfounded, and I think they are just steam. I don't think they're actual real threats. I don't think he's actually going to take anybody to court because, again, it'd be really hard to prove that you are Satoshi if you're not Satoshi. And if you're not Satoshi, then everybody is right, and you can't really sue them if they're right. Makes no sense. But moving on to other news. Bitmain's hash rate noticeably dropped in the past 30 days. So Chinese cryptocurrency mining giant Bitmain hash rate has noticeably dropped in the past 30 days, according to the company's hash rate disclosure update as of May 7th. Per the data analyzing the hash rate of all Bitmain-owned hardware, updated once every 30 days, which is used to mine Bitcoin, it has dropped from 1,692 quadrillion hashes per second in March to 239 petahash as of the beginning of May. This marks a noticeable downturn in the company's Bitcoin computing power. When comparing Bitmain's numbers last year in July 2018, Bitmain's SHA-256 hash rate was 1,692 petahash. registering an uptick to 2,339 petahash 3 months later in October. So as previously reported, two mining pools operated by Bitmain, Antpool, and Bitcoin.com contributed almost 23% of the total hash power of the entire Bitcoin mining pool as of January 2019. However, 6 months earlier, the company's mining pools represented 41% of the market share, meaning that its share has been steadily declining. And in February, a report from Canadian wealth management company Canaccord claimed that mining became decentralized and continues to diversify. And at the same time, however, the largest stakeholder still remained Antpool. The report notes. Data from blockchain.com currently puts Antpool's share at 16.4%, while BitTaps suggests it's closer to 17.1%. So again, Bitcoin, interestingly, getting more decentralized as time goes on and not more centralized as Bitmain produces even more ASICs and even better ASICs over time. So good news for Bitcoin and slightly bad news for Bitmain, but maybe they're making their money elsewhere. Maybe mining just isn't that good for them, so they're going to sell their crappy miners to everybody else, right? Hey, it's not that profitable for them, so we'll just sell them to everybody else. We're done using them, so have fun with our used Bitcoin miners. So moving on to privacy cryptocurrency, Grin receives mysterious 300,000 Bitcoin donation. So, Grin in the past was the CEO, the creator of Grin, was complaining that not enough people were donating to them to continue the project. And, well, that's their own fault. And it sounded very not good, to say the least. It was not a good look for Grin, and I don't think it did so well for Grin either, because the price definitely didn't go up from there. But now the developers behind the cryptocurrency project Grin have reportedly received an anonymous donation of 50 Bitcoin, worth an estimated $300,000. The news, shared during a weekly meeting of developers, is notable as Grin came to market touting what is called a fair launch, meaning project developers did not raise any funds via an initial coin offering or a private sale of tokens that would power the technology. So now here's where I want to stop this article for just a second. And now when it comes to ICOs and new proof of work coins and stuff like that, I honestly never had a problem with ICO developers taking 5% of their coins or pre-mining 5% of their coins. I think anything above 10% is egregious. But anything 5 to 10%, I don't think was ever a really big deal, because it does take a lot of money for developers to develop these things. They have day jobs, or if they don't have a day job, they certainly need money. And if they are creating a good project, then they certainly deserve to have a little bit of money. So I never had much of a problem with pre-mine, and I know some people do, but I never had that much of a problem with it, as long as it's public, transparent, and not egregious, as a lot of coins in the past have had, hidden pre-mines, and then it comes out a year later that they just, burned a whole bunch of their pre-mine, and that's the reason why it didn't go up in price or anything like that. That sort of thing I dislike. So this means the development of the Grin protocol has been entirely reliant on voluntary donations and crowdfunding. A relatively new cryptocurrency launched in January, Grin leverages a novel technology to obfuscate transaction information. So users can donate funds at any time to 5 different public addresses: Grin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Zcash. The most recent donation of 50 was placed in the Grin Bitcoin SegWit address. It says, a really big and heartfelt thanks. We will ensure that we put it to good use and buy a lot of pizzas with it. Still, the donation is a sign that Grin's funding model may be working. According to a recent released financial report, funding for the project has increased almost twofold over the past 4 months, from an estimated $65,000 to $123,000. Now, with the additional 50 Bitcoin, the project holds roughly 6 times the amount of the funds it started out with at the top of 2019. And going forward, funds are expected to be put more towards the project needs, including building and deploying key infrastructure, website design, marketing development, mining hardware design, and more. Now, I'm not a big fan of Grin, but I know a lot of people are, so this is why I'm reading this article. The reason why I'm not a fan of Grin is because a lot of coins, there's a few coins that come out that make their own ASICs, like Skycoin making their own ASICs. So now you're making the coin and you're developing the ASIC for the coin, and that doesn't really help with decentralization, in my opinion. That's not like a broad people buying their own GPUs or buying their own ASICs to put onto it. I don't really like that. Now that does specialize the ASIC to only that coin, so it does bring up the hash rate quite a bit, but I feel that's shady. I feel that's cheating in some kind of way, that making your own ASIC. So now you're profiting off of your coin, and now you're profiting off the ASIC hardware that you're selling as well. So if you're selling your own mining equipment to mine your own coin, it just doesn't speak well to me about a coin, and I can't say that I like that about Grin one bit. But I know a lot of people do like Grin, and it started off at an egregious price and then pretty much dumped immediately, and has always been kind of hard to mine, and sometimes off and on profitable though. Now moving on to coin market cap, 184 billion market cap. Last time I mentioned coin market cap at the last video was 188. So we did go down a little bit overall. As you can see, like everything is sort of starting to plummet a little bit. It may go back up, but there was definitely a big problem with the Binance hack. I think it sounds worse than it is. 7,000 Bitcoin, $40 million. Now that's a lot to any one person, but to something like Binance or the entire cryptocurrency market as a whole, it's really not too crazy. So we are going downhill just a little bit. Like winner of the day, Japan content. Well, that's weird. Nice little pump there. ABBC coin pumping as usual. And loser of the day, Newton, ARC, Theta, Tezos. BAT and stuff like that took the hardest hits from today. But, I expect it to sort of turn around and continue upwards as there's a lot of bullish things in the news. Everything is bullish lately. Of course, today was the Binance hack, which, not so good. But overall, very bullish. People talking about the halvening coming soon. People talking about the Litecoin halvening coming soon. Lots of institutional investors coming soon. Hopefully soon. I always say soon, and then 3 months later, I'm like, institutional investments coming soon. But again, I don't make the news. But that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like the video. That helps me out a lot. Also, my social media in the description below. Choose your favorite social media and follow me on there whenever you get the opportunity. Don't do it now. Maybe do it now. Do you got time? Do it now. If not, don't worry about it. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And as usual, I will see you all next time.